If anybody, all jokes aside, because I joke about things on here and I don't joke about other things, and if any of them are happening to you, maybe I'm not joking. Maybe they're facts and real. Don't kill yourself, you fucking pussies. If I'm not killing myself, you shouldn't be. Because we're going to need as many fucking sacks of meat as we can here in the next couple hundred of years. Just kidding. I was like kidding about kidding. Or is it the opposite? I don't even know. There's something about a microphone, man. It's like I don't know, I've never shot up drugs with a needle. But a version of myself may have outside of this fake dream world or whatever. He's a junkie. He's a junkie. I literally proved it's not hell with two substantial pieces of evidence wiped from the memory bank. Gone, dunzo. See you later. God said, nope, you're not welcome here. I don't blame him. When you're dealing with AI deepfakes and fake coma dreams and witchcraft, religion, spirituality, purgatory, mental illness, inserted and uninserted, naturally acquired and not naturally acquired. Is God natural? Yeah. A fake simulation. And all those things, not fake or blah, 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 blah. What do you get? Oh. Forgot about... God damn it. Probably fake tumor, but... How can you even know if a tumor is real or not? I'm trying to think. I'm trying to remember. Let me see here. You know what we're going to do? Here's what we're going to do. We're going to be a good little monkey. And do the little jump. We're going to dance and jump. Oh, the monkey can clap. Does he remember that he just clapped? And now God is messing with my fake levitation, fake simulation, fake meditation, which I talk about on the pod on the previous episodes. Here's the thing. When you're all fucked up in the head, you just whip out the DSM-5. Just whip it out. Come on, whip it out. Come on. Whip it out. Whip it out. I'm not going to talk about elimination disorders today. Is that when you've been eliminated from the fake simulation that's been hacked by AI and they can just make people disappear? No. It involves the inappropriate elimination of urine or feces and are usually first diagnosed in childhood and adolescence. Or adolescence. Anybody ever do that? It's a funny bit. I may have done it a time or two. This one time, when I was working for one of the landlords here on the property, he owns 6 of the places out of the 12. He's itching to get that 7th one. Because then he controls the land, the people. Then he's got majority rules. It's not like the Electoral College. So, like, if one apartment had 8 people and one had 1, one would probably think the one with 8 would actually be more than 1 vote from one of the units. You know? But they're too fucking lazy to even do that kind of thinking. I was working for him, and there's no, in one of his apartments, there's no, like, public restroom. I don't even if there was, I think there was a vacant unit, I couldn't, no, that was off the table. He's got a work van, you know? And a bucket. He's got a bucket. And he's got some really heavy duty black trash bags. And it even has cardboard that I can stick on the windows that replicate like a jail cell. With barred windows. Like, what? You feel like you're a tiger trapped in a cage. And I don't want people looking in on me when I'm pooping. Plus, I wanted to, smoke some drugs. Because that's what you do when you're taking a shit and you're a drug addict. It's just what you do. So I shit in the bucket with the bag. I made sure there's no hole. I somehow found the time to make sure there was no holes in the bag, but not run up the fucking to the second floor into the vacant and take a dump in there. And then I don't even know what the hell I did after that. Probably went back to work with the bag in the van. I get the bag and fumble it. I didn't want to fumble that bag at all. I really didn't want to. Nobody wants there to be like shit in a fucking really used bucket that they use for work. And I drove home, and I remember having it in a plastic bin, like one of those storage totes, whatever they're called. And I remember, I don't know what the fuck was going through my head. Back then, normal things. And I thought, I think I just set it down in the corner in the back parking lot, not next to the dumpster, but outside the little fence area. And I just put it there. And something, I don't think I honestly don't even know what the hell was going through my head. I was like, yeah, I don't really want to deal with this right now. Just left it there. Nobody will smell it. It's tied up. I tied it up. I double bagged it, I think. Maybe not. I hope so. And then that night or the night after, or the week after, the month after, I was like, oh shit, I forgot about that. I forgot about that thing. And it was just buried in snow. Like a foot or two of snow. A shit ton. Because when we plow the parking lot, we just chuck all the snow on the banks. And it was under probably 4 feet almost of snow. I'm like, that'll be good for the winter. It's frozen anyways. It's fucking frozen. So I'll deal with it when the snow melts. Imagine that. I forgot about it. And I think I just didn't mention it to anybody because I forgot. And then I saw my buddy. I think I saw him digging over there in the springtime. And I'm like, oh boy, I'm going inside right now. I'm getting the fuck inside. And I just kind of let him deal with that. And the piss bucket, man, the fucking piss bucket, dude. God, that was honestly one of the most hilarious moments of my entire life, if not the most. I don't know how an entire metropolitan city area can smell like a bucket of like multiple weeks gathered up of urine, like chemical waste urine, spit, snot, blood, cum, eyeball fluid, and an assortment of other pops and sodas and ice cream and creamers, coffees, body armor, Dr. Pepper, Coke. Not the drug. I'm not that fucking wasteful. You know that the original Coca-Cola had cocaine in it? It did. They did that. They did that. They did that, dog. But what else did I have in there? I'm trying to think if there was anything else, like really cigarette butts, chew, dip spit, maybe some gasoline, a lot of like chemical urine. Which it's my urine's not really chemically anymore. Haha. It's okay, it's a clean boy. Clean, clean, clean. At least my urine is. Which, whatever. Fake coma dream stuff or not. Who even knows at this point? I'm not sure even God knows. But to like, how? Back then I thought, I talk about this already in the piss bucket. But how does. So either the entire Twin Cities area actually smelled like my piss bucket for 3 straight days when it was raining pretty much all day, every day. I mean, like raining on and off. So there was always kind of wet rainwater in the streets and the grass. Either everybody was smelling the piss bucket smell, because that's what I would smell. I smelled that for 3 straight days. No, I didn't have it on my clothing or anything like that. It wasn't in my car, because whenever I got out of the car, it was way stronger. So that doesn't, it wasn't on my clothes or my shoes or my person. Maybe I became the piss bucket. I did get dehydrated one evening while I was in there smoking drugs. Right before the eyes started like burning. And I did take a sip of it because I didn't have any water and I didn't want to go inside. That's when I was back on the. That's when I was on the shit. So if you real tweakers, they will fucking save their piss and drink it. Because it's got, that's when they're really fiending. What can you even say at that point? I have nothing on the mind to even try to grasp, or I don't know what puts you in that kind of state. Maybe real shit. And I even asked some of my neighbors about it at the time and afterwards, and my one neighbor did say that it smelled like the piss. You just call it like a Chernobyl waste at that point. It's like when somebody falls into one of the vats at like a chemical waste plant, and they just dump it in the fucking pond down the street. You mix all of that with the pond water and whatever little fishies are in there, and it's kind of the same, pretty close to. There's not, you can't really, with all the liquids in the world, even the chemical waste, like the other chemical waste liquids at the chemical waste factory, they didn't really come as close to the piss bucket in terms of being almost identical in terms of chemically as the chemical waste that they dumped into the pond last year. Pretty close. So if any tweakers are looking for or itching to get a buzz, I don't have the piss bucket anymore. Sorry. And what is that? Cloud Maker over in Monticello or whatever. The pond down the street from that place. You can drink some of that and maybe you'll get a little bit fucked up. So I'm somewhat experienced in elimination disorders. Not as a child or an adolescent, but as an adult. Because I thought it was funny. So either I smelled and everyone smelled the piss bucket smell everywhere they went, which I find insanely impossible. Or somehow it was, because it wasn't on me. Every time I got out of my car to do deliveries, it smelled very strong. It's like the rain was piss. It's like the clouds like took a sample of my piss bucket and they said, we're going to borrow that for a couple days. I think that'll be funny. The Cloud Maker. It all ties together. This is a free country still, right? It is for the human beings. That's right. That's what we are. Human beings. Walking around freely with free will, free thought, free speech. I know, such a drag, right? That's a fucking depressing country. Super fucking depressing. Well, if you're not a fan of it and you're a human being, go take it up with North Korea and see if they'll have you. If you're not a fan of the free speech and the retarded people that connected free speech with the freedom of like church, separation of church and state, which doesn't even really, it should have its own amendment, the church. Anybody talk about that? how the church and religion should have its own amendment? No, just me. It should be separate from freedom of speech. Obviously, I kind of, holy shit, we're at 25. We're rolling on through. So, your Enuresis, enuresis, enuresis. Interesting word. I don't have that one. That's repeated voiding of urine into better clothes, whether voluntary, involuntary, or intentional. If you're doing it intentionally, you must really be going for like a goof there. So I don't have that one. Not yet. Well, one of me might in a fake world. Outside of this fake world. This is the one I was looking for. Encopresis. Encopresis. Repeated passage of feces into inappropriate places. Clothing, floor, whether involuntary or intentional. At least one such event occurs each month for at least 3 months. Wow. Let's see the timing of those. Just outside that 3-month range. So you have to do it once a month for at least 3 months. Otherwise, you're not fitting into that category. Chronological age is at least 4 years, or equivalent developmental level. Have you leveled up yet? The behavior is not attributable to the physiological effects of a substance, laxatives, or another medical condition except through a mechanism involving constipation. Oh my god. Specify whether they have these at the bottom. This is the DSM-5. So, like, if you fit into those categories of what I just read off, for diagnostic criteria, code 307.7, parentheses, F98.1, end parentheses. A, B, C, D were those 4 criteria. Now, what about somebody who just likes to do it because it's a bit? Apparently, we don't matter. The DSM doesn't really care about us in that way. They're not really too caring of those folk. All right, let's go on down here. Boom, 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 boom. All right, the first one is schizophrenia spectrum. That was just in the middle of the book on page 355 is when elimination disorders, that section starts. I was just reading on that section earlier, a few weeks ago, days, months, I don't even know. Huh. Excuse me. Neurodevelopmental disorders is the first one. produce impairments of personal, social, academic, or occupational functioning. Yeah, these ones are really sad because it's really out of their control, which is most of them, I'd hope, unless you really fucked up. Or you're trying to do some good things for people who probably don't give a shit. Because they'll probably never know. Maybe I'm really crazy. What the fuck is global developmental delay? Oh my god. Uh, I think some of these are fake. I think some of these are actually completely made up. And some of the sections of this book have actually changed since the last two times I've read it. Well, the first time I read it was a couple months ago. And no joke, it literally, like, there's sections of things that I wrote down for quote unquote mental illnesses that I have, end quote. And there's certain wording that's completely different. Sentences, much like my journals. So get this to a bunch of therapists and psychiatrists. Whoever's out there, I'll try to talk to mine that I haven't talked to in a while, because she knows her DSM-5 pretty well. Oh, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. Yeah, I probably have this one. I can't even focus on anything. Ugh, ADHD. A persistent pattern diagnostic criteria. A. A persistent pattern of inattention and or hyperactivity impulsivity that interferes with functioning or development as characterized by 1 and or 2. And then below the A, we have 1. Inattention. 6 or more of the following symptoms have persisted for at least 6 months to a degree that is inconsistent with developmental level and that negatively impacts directly on social and academic occupational activities. The symptoms are not solely a manifestation of oppositional behavior. What? We're not talking about ODD. Which oppositional defiance disorder, that's ODD, which it's basically you have a problem with responding to authority figures or being told what to do, shit like that. Well, this is America. You don't tell me what to do. So I don't know why they even mention the symptoms are not solely a manifestation of oppositional behavior, defiance, hostility, or failure to understand tasks or instructions. For older adolescents and adults, age 17 and older, at least 5 symptoms are required. This is about ADHD, not ODD, which doesn't make any sense. But hey, what does? I'm trying to find out where. It'd probably be under disruptive impulse control and conduct disorders. Huh. I want to go to that section just to find out for sure. All right. My Logic mouse is not working to my standards. All right. Come on now. Elimination disorder. Elimination disorders. What? I don't know what's wrong with my mouse. Scroll wheel. Scrolling speed. There we go. We got it. That's what I'm talking about. No updates for my mouse. Thank you, Jeff Bezos. Yeah, that's how you do it. Maybe a little too sensitive. Holy shit. Yeah, oppositional defiance disorder is in a completely different section, almost towards the end of the book. So why it's being tied with ADHD makes zero sense. I know my mental disorders. It's still too sensitive, bro. Let's try that one now. Still too sensitive. There we go. Now we're cooking with gas, baby. Move it up a little bit. 55%. Maybe even more. We're going to try 77. Perfect. And I don't see, this really doesn't make any sense to me. Why? ODD. So, disruptive impulse control and conduct disorders include conditions involving problems in the self control of emotions and behaviors. Huh. Oppositional defiance disorder, intermittent explosive disorder, conduct disorder. Shut the fuck up. Antisocial personality disorder, pyromania, kleptomania, and other specified and unspecified disruptive impulse control and conduct disorders. Yeah, I'm not really into the childish mind games, Lord. Not really today. I mean, I haven't been for months, but diagnostic criteria code 313.81 parentheses F91.3 end parentheses. A pattern of angry, irritable mood, argumentative, defiant behavior, or vindictiveness lasting at least 6 months as evidenced by at least 4 symptoms from any of the following categories and exhibited during interaction with at least one individual who is not a sibling. So they can't be your sibling, which doesn't even make sense. Angry, irritable mood. And below that, 1. Often loses temper. 2. Is often touchy or easily annoyed. 3. Is often angry and resentful. Argumentative, defiant behavior. 4. Often argues with authority figures or, for children and adolescents, with adults. 5. Often actively defies or refuses to comply with requests from authority figures or with rules. 6. Often deliberately annoys others. 7. Often blames others for his or her mistakes or misbehavior. Vindictiveness. 8. Has been spiteful or vindictive at least twice within the past 6 months. What constitute being spiteful or vindictive? That's like an opinion. That's like an opinionated. You know what I mean? One person could think something is spiteful. One therapist or one psychiatrist, and another one could think that's not spiteful. That they're actually. It's all opinionated in terms of that. Has been spiteful or vindictive. Let's look up the defs for that. Yeah, nice stuff. The other girls made spiteful remarks about Paula. Bitchy, catty, malicious, mean, nasty, cruel, unkind, unfriendly, snide, hurtful, wounding, barbed, cutting, hateful, ill-natured, bitter, venomous, poisonous, acid, hostile, rancorous, I haven't heard that one, malevolent, evil-intentioned, baleful, vindictive, vengeful, vitriolic, vicious, splenetic, malign, malignant, bilious, defamatory, maleficent, squint-eyed, benevolent. Oh, antonyms: benevolent, kind, and friendly. I don't think benevolent is an antonym. And we can't really click on that one to look at it. What? Benevolent. What? Benevolent forces. Like, that's. Benevolent does not mean kind. Kind hearted, warm hearted, tender hearted, big hearted, good natured, good, gracious. Much like God. Sometimes. Other times, not so much. You're not going to want to piss off that guy. But it's with a gracious, loving iron fist because it's, you got to weigh the pros and cons and things like that. The human race, humanity. I'll talk about some of those things on another episode, I guess. But I don't think benevolent means compassionate, caring, sympathetic, considerate. And no, I'm not hallucinating. Ugh. I'd like to think God would throw a blessing or two my way in terms of that. But I guess we're rolling with the fake coma dream or whatever. I don't even know. Whatever. Spiteful, vindictive is the other one we gotta look up. He never destroyed a person simply on the say-so of vindictive enemies. Synonyms: vengeful, revengeful. What is the difference between vengeful and revengeful? Huh. Unforgiving, grudge bearing. Vengeful means this is adjectives, which is not. It's not really why I. If anybody knows the Pink Floyd album The Wall, like really well, like pretty much every second of it, let me know. Try to get a hold of me and we'll compare notes. Vengeful, revengeful. Hmm. Nice. So vindictive has avenging in it as well as a synonym. That doesn't make any sense either. So, this is what you get when you're trying to do research. And then the search results don't pop up. Why? I don't know. Note, the persistence and frequency of these behaviors should be used to distinguish a behavior that is within normal limits from a behavior that is symptomatic. For children younger than 5 years, the behavior should occur on most days for a period of at least 6 months. Otherwise noted, parentheses, criterion A8, end parentheses. For individuals 5 years or older, the behavior should occur at least once per week for at least 6 months, unless otherwise noted, parentheses, criterion A8, end parentheses. Oh. While these frequency criteria provide guidance on a minimal level of frequency to define symptoms, other factors should also be considered, such as whether the frequency and intensity of the behaviors are outside a range that is normative for the individual's developmental level, gender, and culture. Blah, 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 blah. B. How you doing? Miss ya. The disturbance in behavior is associated with distress in the individual or others in his or her immediate social context. Parentheses, e.g., example would be family, peer group, work colleagues, end parentheses. Or it impacts negatively on social, educational, occupational, or other important areas of functioning. C. The behaviors do not occur exclusively during the course of a psychotic, substance use, depressive, or bipolar disorder. Also, the criteria are not met for disruptive mood dysregulation disorder. Specify current severity. Mild. The symptoms are confined to only one setting. Example, at home, at school, at work, with peers. Now, moderate. Some symptoms are present in at least 2 settings. Severe. Some symptoms are present in 3 or more settings. I mean, nobody likes getting told what to do all the time. Especially when, they're either getting taken advantage of, being used, or being disrespected, or, I've had a problem with talking to certain people a certain way just because another fucking plethora of reasons, you know? So, and, huh. So I feel like everybody kind of there's like a range on ODD, and I'm pretty sure every human fits somewhere on that fucking range. Just because nobody is going to be a fucking slave and be pushed around and do every little thing that they're told to do unless they're literally a slave. Like in like 1940 America, which I'm pretty sure they still had slaves back then. They didn't let them fight in the war though. Because that's not a war. Well, 1950, mid 50s, late 50s. That wasn't a war, so we can't send any of the once upon a time slaves over there. Yeah, so it's just basically negative mood. I mean, what the symptoms of oppositional defiance disorder may be confined to only one setting. This is most frequently at home. Okay, this is the problem I was this is the problem I had a couple months ago. It says there's a lot of words for diagnostic features, but they have trouble like explaining, or they did a couple months ago, this version of the DSM-5 that I PDF that I downloaded. Some of the categories have trouble explaining what the actual mental illness consists of in terms of symptoms or side effects or things like that. There's paragraphs and paragraphs of words, but they kind of beat around the bush and they don't really fucking. Huh. Individuals who show less symptoms to meet the diagnostic threshold, even if it is only at home. I've already gone over all of the getting put to sleep bullshit. We might have to do I figured out where the lottery story was on my episodes. It was not on How to Be a Full-Time Crocodile. It was on the Matrix Outlet Mall. And I'll do it, whatever. However, in more severe cases, the symptoms of the disorder are persistent in multiple settings. Given that the pervasiveness of symptoms is an indicator of the severity of the disorder, it is critical that the individual's behavior be assessed across multiple settings and relationships, because these behaviors are commonly among siblings. They must be observed during interactions with persons other than siblings. Also, because symptoms of the disorder are typically more evident in interactions with adults or peers whom the individual knows well, they may not be apparent during a clinical examination. Well, I'll tell you what, brother. I'll tell you what, brother. Ain't nobody tell my brother what is okay to do in Wisconsin. We can take our 6-year-old brother to the bar with us. We're adults. We're 21. That's the law. Yeah, technically it is. You can go get drunk with your 6-year-old brother, you fucking alcoholic. At least give him some dip, too. Show him what it's really like to be a man. The symptoms of oppositional defiance disorder can occur to some degree in individuals without this disorder. There are several key considerations for determining if the behaviors are symptomatic of oppositional defiant disorder. First, the diagnostic threshold of 4 or more symptoms within the preceding 6 months must be met. Second, the persistence and frequency of the symptoms should exceed what is normative for an individual's age, gender, and culture. For example, it is not unusual for preschool children to show temper tantrums on a weekly basis. Yeah. Or just repeated opinions about nothing. Temper outbursts for a preschool child would be considered a symptom of oppositional defiance disorder only if they occurred on most days for the preceding 6 months. If they occurred with at least 3 other symptoms of the disorder, and if the temper outburst contributed to the significant impairment associated with the disorder. Example, led to destruction of property during outbursts, resulted in the child being asked to leave a preschool. I love how they're like, this is only for preschoolers. If you're in kindergarten, you missed the cut. The symptoms of the disorder often are a part of a pattern of problematic interactions with others. Furthermore, individuals with this disorder typically do not regard themselves as angry, oppositional, or defiant. Instead, they often justify their behavior as a response to unreasonable demands or circumstances. Hmm. Thus, it can be difficult to disentangle. Really, jot that down in your notes for word selection. Thus, it can be difficult to disentangle the relative contribution of the individual with the disorder to the problematic interactions he or she experiences. For example, children with oppositional defiance disorder may have experienced a history of hostile parenting, and it is often impossible to determine if the child's behavior caused the parents to act in a more hostile manner toward the child. If the parents' hostility led to the child's problematic behavior, or if there was some combination of both, or if there was some combination of both. What? I want to read that one again. For example, children with oppositional defiant disorder may have experienced a history of hostile parenting, comma, and it is often impossible to determine if the child's behavior caused the parents to act in a more hostile manner towards the child. If this is where the sentence probably should have ended, right there. But it doesn't. There's another comma. If the parents' hostility led to the child's problematic behavior, or if there was some combination of both. Never mind. I'm retarded. Whether or not the clinician can separate the relative contributions of potential causal, usually a potential causation. I don't know if causal. I don't know if that's even a word. I don't think it is. But there's 19 in my dictionary and thesaurus, Wikipedia, Apple app, which is just the regular dictionary. There's 19 different words connected to causal. Which doesn't really make any sense because I don't even think it's a word. Huh. Huh. Trying to find my other dictionary app. I might have deleted it. I don't remember. causal. Relating to or acting as a cause. there's only one search result on look up dictionary. If anybody has a spare cell phone, they could borrow me. Um, just fucking text me or whatever. 763-242-4788. 242-4788. Or whatever. We can try to have a conversation without me like going deaf at every other sentence that you say, or which has become a serious problem for me. I literally go deaf when I am around people. Like my brain will start thinking about whatever it may be. It may be a selfish thought, thinking about myself, or thinking about something that they said that I thought they said, or whatever. And my brain like turns off my sense of hearing while they're talking, and I'm thinking about it. I don't know if this is something people call it selective hearing. I don't really select to do it. I'm not really selecting to have that happen. It's really actually not a selection. It's something that my brain over time has become more and more consistent in doing. And like, I literally go fucking deaf. So then I'm like, wait, what did you say? And people are like, then repeat it. And then, once you do that a couple dozen times, it's as another person, I'm sure it's not very fun having a conversation with me. Because I'm not even doing it as a joke or a bit. I think they think I am, but I'm not. I literally go deaf, and it's not something I'm selecting my brain to do. It's something that maybe my brain kind of does, and it used to be. I used to do it when I was a kid growing up. Whenever I was watching TV or something, I would never hear what the fuck was being said around me. But from research that I've done, it's actually very difficult for the brain to actively listen to two different things at once, which is something I was doing for fun for a while. I would have one headphone in one ear, and then I'd have my Turtle Beaches on, and I'd cover up the other ear. And I would listen to two podcasts at the same time, two different podcasts usually, two different people, sometimes multiple people in the podcast, and they'd be talking about two different things, completely different. And it's actually kind of very interesting and kind of fun. It'll like split your brain in half, but it's really difficult to try to do that. To try to actively listen to two conversations at the same exact time, at the same volume, etc. In the event that a child may be living in particularly poor conditions, where neglect or mistreatment may occur. God damn it. Example, in institutional settings, not in a like a uh impoverished part of the country or the world. No, just in an institution. That's the only poor conditions where neglect or mistreatment may occur. The only one. So the place that the poor kid gets sent to because they're crazy, quote unquote, uh, is actually the place where the poor conditions and neglect and mistreatment is occurring. Not at the home where the mother got arrested recently for smoking a joint uh, on one of her cigarette breaks while she works 20 hours a day. And the dad is, gun toting. He just likes to fucking tote guns and sell drugs. So that's not, and they don't make, I don't know how they don't make money when they're selling cocaine. He's like a stockbroker too during the day. And they live in Detroit. So every house in the neighborhood has been burned down. And that's not really the poor conditions where neglect or mistreatment may occur. And this kid's obviously completely sane and normal. It's the place that the crazy kid, gets sent to, where the conditions and neglect and mistreatment occur. What? Clinical attention to reducing the contribution of the environment may be helpful. Well, that's good. That'll be helpful. I just kind of zoned out during that last part. What does that even mean? In the event that the child may be living in particularly poor conditions where neglect or mistreatment may occur, clinical attention to reducing the contribution of the environment may be helpful. What are we reducing? Because that's what the clinicians are paying attention to. They're reducing the contribution of the environment. What environment? Firewood? Ashes and burned houses? Guns? Cocaine? It doesn't even, that sentence doesn't even make sense. This is the DSM-5. It's not like, it's not, let me think here. What are those, Etch-a-Sketch, what are they called? Fuck. When you fill in the words, like when you're a kid and you have those things, the teacher like hands you like a thing where there's like a paragraph, multiple sentences, and you have to fill in the words with words you think of. That's what that sentence is like. And this is like the book that every therapist and psychiatrist in the country uses to like diagnose and give out mental illness diagnoses. This is the book that I'm sure every single therapist and psychiatrist in the country knows this book very well. It's like their Bible. So they should just probably pay more attention. And we're not doing gender dysphoria. Oh my goodness. Premature ejaculation. Wow. Only 1 minute is the timer on that one. 1 minute. That's with a hard cock. Like a fully hard one. I know. I bet you're all wondering, what the fuck is this guy talking about? I thought he was 25. Yeah. What the hell? Oh boy. Female orgasmic disorder. I like these. I like this one. Yeah, I know that game. Marked delay in marked. What the fuck? This is what I'm talking about. The wording in this book is like of what are those fucking things called? A nanogram. Is that what it is? Yeah, a nanogram, I think. Nanogram. Maybe I'm completely wrong on this. No, not a nanogram. Oh. Ugh. God, my nose is fucked, even though I haven't put anything in my nostril. Not a nanogram. Fuck! Dude, there's a fruit fly in my apartment that is becoming like it's on. I think it's on steroids. It's juiced up. Anyways, fuck. What are. Fill in the blank. The blank stories called. There we go. Mad Libs! Of course. Where does that term come from? Let's find out. I don't want to like distract God, Jesus, the Holy Spirit, or the 12 disciples. I just call them 15. The term Mad Lib. Mad Lib come from? Freedom! 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 So, Mad Libs is a word game created by Leonard Stern and Roger Price. It consists of one player prompting others for a list of words to substitute for blanks in a story before reading aloud. Reading out loud. What? Where does the term aloud come from? And why is it not out loud? Is that even a word? The game is frequently played as a party game or as a pastime. It can be categorized as a phrasal template game. So we're just going to do one for the hell of it. So aloud, ALOUD, out loud, OUTLOUD. So aloud, out loud. So the same letters in both of those words, or set of words, is loud, LOUD. The ones that are not the same is out, A, in the letter A. OUTA, like a teacher's assistant. Hmm, something to think about. Oh, the name comes from ad libs, which is a term that means making it up as you go along. What? The current ad-libbing champion is running for public office in the US. If you structured his ad-libs in a fill-in-the-blanks way, you would have nonsensical gibberish along with ranting and raving. Huh. Eight years ago, right around, that was the same year I fucking wanted to see how hot I could get the Infinity QX4 2001. See how hot I could get the engine with before it fucking burst and popped. Yep, 8 years ago. Mad Libs are a story with blanks that you get to fill in yourself, though it's usually more fun to do in a group. Usually the blank will ask for a specific type of word, like noun or adjective. Except you don't know what the story is until you've filled in the blanks. You're just blindly feeding words into a story with often hilarious results as it's read out loud at the end. Aloud. This guy used aloud, not out loud. I didn't even know that was a word. What? Huh. I feel like some of these. Scrabble's a good game. Hmm. Aloud. Aloud versus out loud. Is there a difference between aloud? I'm not talking about ALLOWED. For a long time, writers were told to avoid the phrase out loud. It was an error, they were told, for the firmly established aloud, which has been a word in English since the 13th century. In contrast, out loud was a relative newcomer. It only dates back to the beginning of the 19th century. What? That's like, that doesn't make any sense. For a long time, writers were told to avoid the phrase out loud. It was an error, they were told, for the firmly established aloud, which has been a word in English since the 13th century. In contrast, out loud was a relative newcomer. It only dates back to the beginning of the 19th century, 600 years later. But for a long time, writers were told to avoid the phrase out loud. Maybe I misread that. Here's an example. Lord Andover, in the presence of Lord and Lady Suffolk, and speaking out loud, said, "Miss Dutton, be so good to walk with me into the library." From Maria Edgeworth, letter 1821. Even if out loud was a word, language commenters commented it was a colloquialism, an informal or conversational word you might use with your friends, but should avoid in formal writing. It's actually two words. Usage today, however, shows clearly that out loud is not a colloquialism, and that although we would agree that aloud is more likely used in solemn writing, in general, the two terms are essentially interchangeable. Unless you're talking about Andover, Minnesota, or Lord Andover. That's what the article says. For many of us, one of the most vivid memories from childhood is listening to mom reading a book out loud or telling a story. William Porter, The Denver Post, May 10th, 2015. It's my father's birthday. In fact, the whole notion of retirement itself feels vaguely shameful. In my circles, the R word is rarely spoken out loud. Mary Hogan, The Saturday Evening Post, January/February 2015. She couldn't finish that sentence in January. Or two sentences. She had to save it for the next month. It might have been like a New Year's Eve type of thing, where she had to go kiss somebody at midnight. And then the dude pre-ejaculated in his pants too early. Well, let me tell you, bub. I could get a rock hard fucking cock at 16 as well. So I probably would have pre-ejaculated in my pants too. The poem should be read aloud to allow its incantatory power to reveal itself. Damian Lanigan, The New Republic, September/October 2015. A lot of 2015 quotes. 4 of them from 2015. That was a fucking poppin' year for that word. After all, the sewage experiments indicate that there are electrically active bacteria in the gut. He wonders aloud, do they communicate with human cells as part of the body's internal ecosystem? Corey S. Powell, Popular Science, February 2015. It was a very popular 3-month period for aloud and out loud. There are even some cases in which out loud is the preferred term, a distinctive and exclusive use of out loud is in the idiom for crying out loud. Most sources explain the expression as the result of finessing one's way out of saying the inappropriate just as it's practically out. What? It's just a big old sack of dog food, for crying out loud. But Charles Fishman could hardly restrain himself. 50 pounds for $13.82. That's amazing. Bob Thomas, The Washington Post, April 13th, 2006. Out loud. Also, one-ups. Aloud. As the preferred word, even though one of them is consistent of 2 words, not 1 word, following the verb laugh. Like you laugh out loud. Laugh aloud. I've never heard anybody ever in my entire life say laugh aloud. Am I allowed to laugh aloud? Can I do that? Is that allowed? No, I'm going to do it out loud. Or I'm not. Because, you know, I think it's funny. Dead air. And the first time I heard an audience laugh out loud at me, I was done. I was sold. They sold me at a slave auction for $1,500 last year. That's how cheap they are nowadays, folks. Just hit up the dark web. Liev Schreiber, speaking on NPR July 8th, 2013. Just wait, there's more. However, don't be surprised if you spy Aloud in company with Laugh. For instance, in Roald Dahl's James and the Giant Peach, James had never heard Aunt Sponge or Aunt Spiker laughing aloud in all the time he had been with them. Such occurrences show that using aloud or out loud, or out loud, is entirely a writer's choice. Not a speaker's, though. That choice might hinge on the tone of the writing, whether it's formal or colloquial, or it might involve something deeper. Deep into the crevasse. Just get to the wall. Make that bitch bleed. Ah, the good old days. Perhaps the writer sees Aloud as being the only choice because of its long-standing establishment in the language and sees Out Loud as a newcomer yet to prove its mettle. It's a newcomer in the game. Wait, what? That contradicts the beginning, the very first paragraph, which I confused when I first read it. That's why I reread it. Because I thought it said, for a long time, writers were told to avoid the phrase out loud. I thought they were told to use the phrase aloud. It was an error, they were told. For the firmly established aloud, which has been a word in the... Whatever. No, this is the problem. I think the internet is like becoming mentally retarded. A giant peach. Huh. Huh. Oh, interesting. They have 200 new words added and definitions added to Merriam-Webster.com. 10 words from Taylor Swift songs. Boyfriend, girlfriend, love, hate. I. Me. We. That's about it. You could make a Taylor Swift song with those 7 words. What? See, these aren't even words. Why are they part of the dictionary? They are words, but they're multiple words. So like beach read, for you page, street corn, true crime, jam band, dungeon crawler. I like that one. Ultra processed. Huh. International bitterness unit. Well, I need to know what the unit of measurement for that is. Also known as international bitterness units. A unit of measurement used to assess the concentration of a bitter compound found in hops in order to provide information about how bitter a beer is. IBU. This is when most people would I don't even know. I don't even know what anybody would do at this point in stage in my life. I think that a blessing or two would come their way. Because God is great sometimes. God is good sometimes. He's gracious sometimes. Same with 15. But they're busy right now trying to, I hope, help people. They're answering prayers. People are approaching the light of heaven and all that jazz. So I don't really want to, bother them with incessant conversations about whatever. I don't know how all that works, all right? Don't get on my case. What, Hayden? You can talk to God and Jesus, and you told them to get to work? Yeah, pretty much. I mean, do you want to be the reason, like, you want to be, like, talking to God or Jesus or both of them at the same time? Like, because most people would talk their ear off. They just yap. And they'd be like, 13 people in your neighborhood have committed suicide since you've been talking. We probably could have, the Holy Spirit's like, my lords. I've done all I can, my lords. There's only so many guns that I can dismantle at once. Which is something that happened to me, actually. So I really have the Holy Spirit to thank for that one. Otherwise, I'd probably be in hell. All to wake up from a fake coma dream. Yeah, we're done here. I'm done with this one. See all the audio sounds and do another section of the DSM-5 at a later time. If anybody, who am I talking to? Probably nobody. Hmm. Just remember that, folks. I said, remember that. Mm-hmm.